quick thank you to our sponsors for making this podcast possible. They keep this show free to listen to.
Feel your best and amplify your everyday look with Thrive Cosmetics. Go to thrivecosmetics.com/shine26 for an exclusive offer of 20% off your first order. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/shine26.
Thanks for joining me on the Peace in Parenting podcast. I'm so glad you're here.
Our training is called Why Your Child Misbehaves and What to Do About It. And I really want to look into that word misbehavior and start talking about it as off-track behaviors. I'm going to be really straight with you. This is not going to be a lecture on theory. This is going to be practical, real-world guidance that can get you started today. So let's dive in. So here are the misconceptions that might be holding you back. The first misconception is this idea that your children are pushing your buttons, that they're doing something wrong and they're doing it on purpose. I absolutely thought it. I thought my daughter had this personal plan to ruin my day. I thought that she woke up with this idea that she just wanted to push every single one of my buttons to see me react. And I know that sounds dramatic, but in the heart of the moment, that's exactly what it feels like. Here's the problem with that idea, is that when we think our child is deliberately being bad, our response becomes punishment. And we yell like I did, or we threaten, or we take things away, and then we feel terrible. And then it happens again tomorrow. So here's the truth. And I want you to write this down if you can. Misbehavior is communication. Your child's not giving you a hard time. And I'm sure you've heard this before. They're having a hard time. Every single behavior, the tantrums, the whining, the defiance, the eye rolling, the sassiness, every single one of those is your child telling you something. It's just they don't have the words to say it and they don't really understand their feelings themselves. So this week, every time your child acts out or has one of these off-track behaviors, I want you to pause for 1 second and ask yourself, what is my child feeling right now? How do I stop this? But what are they feeling? That's one shift that you can make. Okay. The real cost of punishments. There are real costs to punishments. And one of those costs is this idea that when we punish our kids consistently, they stop coming to us. And that's not what we want. We don't want them to stop coming and telling us about their lives. They also don't stop doing the behaviors. They just try to hide them. They learn that when I have this problem, I can't go to mom or dad because they're not safe. And that's the opposite of what we want. Also, punishments escalate behavior, and that's what nobody tells you. They don't tell you, oh, if you keep punishing your child, it will actually make the long-term behavior problem worse. Maybe in the short term, they stop doing it, but over time, that bad behavior comes back again and again and again. And number 3, it causes burnout because we don't want to be that parent who's constantly yelling or threatening or bribing. How many of you are so sick of doing those things? How many of you are sick of being the referee or sick of being the judge and jury? It doesn't make parenting feel good. So let me give you 2 numbers that really drove this home for me. 73% of parents admit that yelling doesn't work, but they still keep doing it. That's from the American Psychological Association. And 85% of US parents have used spanking, and some of them still do. Even though the American Academy of Pediatrics now says that it predicts more aggression, spanking, than anything. So the old ways, they're just not working. It does make things worse. And the good news is there's a better way. That's exactly what we're going to cover next. Let's talk about this next piece. So the real reasons that kids misbehave. All right, so if misbehavior is your communication, then exactly what are kids trying to tell us? I've been working with families and kids for almost 30 years. And I've found that it comes down to 5 things, 5 real reasons why kids misbehave or have off-track behaviors. And none of them are that your child is bad. The number 1, unmet needs. Number 2, disconnection. Number 3, big, huge emotions and the developing brain. And number 4, lack of autonomy. And finally, what's developmentally normal for children. So reason number 1 is the most overlooked, and honestly, it's the simplest to fix. It's the unmet needs. Is your child hungry? Are they tired? Are they overstimulated? If they are, they can't regulate their behavior. This isn't that something's wrong with them. It's just biology. Their brain literally does not have the resources to cooperate when their body is depleted. So what does that look like in real life? It's the tantrum in the grocery store at 5 p.m. How many have had that? It's the whining and the clinginess right before dinner. How many people have had that? It's the meltdown at the birthday party because there's way too much going on, too many kids, too much sugar, too much everything. How many have had that? It's the defiance at bedtime when they're so overtired and they can't even function. How many people have had that? Those are nearly unavoidable. But what breaks my heart sometimes is that we punish kids when they have these behaviors when it's totally out of their control and they're running on empty. So what can you do? First, you can pack snacks. I know it sounds stupid, but it makes sense. Make sure your kids have food. And if they don't have food, make sure you have something on you that you can give them at any moment. Before you react to any behavior, run through halt. Are they hungry? Are they hungry? Are they angry? Are they lonely? Are they tired? Are they any of those things? If they are those things, try to remedy as best you can. And third, if you can't remedy those things and the child is hungry and they're tired and they are running on empty, you might have to forego your outing. You might have to say, we're only going to stay for a few minutes of this birthday party. You might have to say, that trip to Target at 6 p.m. after dinner is probably not the best idea. Maybe I should just run in and get what I need and run back out. Before you leave on any outings, I would do a little checklist. Do you have a snack? Do you have water? Is your child rested? And put that list on your refrigerator and just really look at it before you go on an outing, before you leave to do anything. Are those things as taken care of as they possibly can be? Reason number 2 is disconnection. And this is a big one. So listen carefully. And this is the crux of what we do at Peace in Parenting. A child who feels disconnected from you or from themselves will do whatever it takes to get your attention. They want to feel connected. And there's the thing about attention to a child. Negative attention, as we all know, is better than no attention at all. So if they get your love by being good, if they don't get your love by being good, then they'll get your love by being quote unquote bad or off track. I want to share a statistic with you that changed the way I parent. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Child and Adolescent Psychology found that just 10 minutes, 10 of daily one-on-one play reduces behavior problems by up to 50%. I'm going to say that again. 10 minutes of daily play reduces behaviors, off-track behaviors, by 50%. So what does disconnection look like? It's when your child acts out the second you pick up the telephone. They're not being annoying. They're just saying, I need you. I don't want you giving your attention to someone else. The fix, give them a few minutes of connection, 10 minutes before you have your telephone conversation. It looks like sibling aggression when a new baby comes home. It's not jealousy. That's a child saying, do you still love me? Do you still see me? Do you still need me? The fix, daily one-on-one time, right after school, right before you feed the baby, in those really hard moments. It's also the teen who complains and pushes back. So try to engage and interact with a child who is looking for connection. And with a teen, you can really dive into their world, find out what they're interested in, talk to them about it for 10 minutes, be inside of their own psyche with them, and really get involved for just a little bit of time every single day. So here's what you want to do this week. I want you to set an alarm on your phone, and I want you to call that alarm special time. And I want it to remind you that you need to do or should do or should consider doing 10 minutes of special time with your child. Your child picks the activity. You try to stay away from screens. You don't have an agenda. You're not trying to teach them anything. It's just you and them connecting, doing whatever it is that they want to do. I promise you, you will see a shift in behavior. By day 5, day 6, I bet you will see some increase in cooperation and decrease in off-track behaviors. By the way, this is one of the very first things we teach inside of the Peace in Parenting community. That's our online parenting community. It's simple, this technique, it's powerful, and we talk about it almost every day in our weekly calls. Reason number 3, and this one is going to blow some minds, big emotions and the developing brain. Here's a fact that every parent needs to know. Listen carefully. The prefrontal cortex, the reasoning center of your brain, that's where we have our logic and our impulse controls, our decision-making center, our emotional regulation is not fully developed until age, they say 25. Some people are even saying 28. 25. That's not 5. That's not 12. That's 25. My daughter's 20, and I can tell you she's getting closer, but you can still tell she needs development in her reasoning skills. In the peace and parenting community, we use this model, the brain science, and a lot of support materials around it as the backbone to parenting with connection. And why? Because it's successful. When we consider the brain and how it works and how connection works, we can really change our behaviors so that we can change theirs. So when we look at the 4-year-old who's having a meltdown in the middle of the store and we say, control yourself, we're asking them to use a part of the brain that literally, A, probably doesn't exist, and B, is definitely not online in that moment. They cannot comply. And here's what happens instead. When a child is overwhelmed by a big emotion, anger, frustration, disappointment, fear, the limbic system, the middle part of the brain, all the emotional core, takes over. And when the limbic system is activated, the thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex, goes offline. They literally cannot hear you. They can't reason. They can't problem solve. They are in survival mode. So what do? We've got 3 steps. We can co-regulate first. I don't know if you know what that means, but it really means calming your nervous system. And your nervous system and your calm helps inform their calm. So they can't de-escalate unless you're de-escalated. And if you're calm and connected, then eventually that will bring them down. So get on their level, breathe deeply, drop your shoulders, lower your voice, and come to them with as much calm as you can. The next step is validating feelings. Everybody wants their feelings validated. It doesn't mean you have to say the behavior is right, but you can tell them that the feeling is okay. I see you're really frustrated. We got to leave the park. You're so disappointed. We can't get that toy. Oh, I'm not letting you go to the party tonight. I understand it's hard. You can also merely say, do you need a hug? I'm right here. You're just letting them know that they're heard and they're understood. Third step is setting limits. And we talk a lot about setting limits in the peace and parenting community. So setting limits looks like the rule in the house is no hitting. I can see you're really angry and I'm right here. Notice what's happening. You're holding the boundary and you're also holding your child at the same time. You're saying, this is the boundary, and I also see your feelings around it, and I recognize those. Instead of what our parents would say would be like, no more TV or else. And then the kid is left in their feelings and they have to comply, and now they feel completely controlled. Instead, we use limits with empathy. This week, I want you to practice one phrase, or maybe a couple of phrases. I see you're upset, or I understand. If you can just say those when your child is off track or having a hard moment or misbehaving every single time, if you say it every single time, it will change the way you come to your children. It will change the way they respond to you. And it might feel weird, but I would do it anyway. So you can try, I can see you're really whatever, or I understand I'm right here. So the 4th reason is lack of autonomy. And this honestly is one of those hidden things that people really don't talk about. And it is a major part of struggles we have with our kids. If you think about it, your kids are being asked to do things all day long. From the moment they wake up, we're telling them, get dressed, eat breakfast, put your shoes on, do this, do that, get in the car, sit down. Then they go to school, get your homework out, put your backpack up. You know, it's constant. Can you imagine how that feels? All day, every day. Imagine if your boss did that to you every single day, that you were controlled. Do this, do that. How long would it take you before you were like, no, I don't want to do that. I need some control in my life. So let me show you the difference between control-based parenting and connection-based parenting. If you take a look at the slide, control-based parenting sounds like, put your shoes on now because I said so. You have no choice. Do it or you're going to lose your iPad. Connection-based parenting sounds like, time to get your shoes on. Do you need help? We have to leave now, and I understand it's hard, but do you want to hop like a bunny? It's teeth time. Do you have sugar bugs in those teeth? Let me see. I know it's hard to stop playing your video games, and I understand, but we're going to have to. And then you listen to the feelings that ensue. And that is the big difference between control parenting and parenting with connection. We set the limit, but we listen to the upset around that limit. We don't just enforce a punishment instead. This week, find a way to get things done being playful. Getting dressed, leaving the park, mealtime, bedtime, turning off the electronics. Can you hop like a bunny? Can you walk like a gorilla? What can you do to incorporate play in your requests of your child? I assure you, you will get much better response than commanding or demanding. Try that this week. Play is one of the tools that we use deeply inside of the peace and parenting community. We talk about it all the time. It is one of my go-to best ideas, my most favorite ideas. It's what I even use with my teenagers. Okay, let's talk about what is developmentally realistic for children, because children have, developmental stages, and those developmental stages aren't always obvious to us. We often call it misbehavior, but it's actually 100% developmentally normal oftentimes what our kids are doing. So when your 2-year-old says no to everything, it's not defiance. It's not that they're trying to be unkind. It's a child developing a sense of self. That's literally their job right now. The appropriate response is not to punish. The no, it's the acknowledge it. Oh, you don't want to go. I hear you. Listen to those feelings, validate those feelings, and then proceed. It's your 4 to 6-year-old who lies, tests limits, argues about everything. They're learning social rules. They're developing their imagination. And the lying is actually a cognitive milestone. It means their brain's growing. Don't shame them. Focus on problem solving together. It's your 7 to 9-year-old who talks back, pushes every boundary. They're developing critical thinking skills. They're trying to figure it out for themselves. What's the world made of? Where do I belong here? Listen to the no behind the disrespect. There's almost always a valid feeling underneath it. And your 10 or 12-year-old who withdraws. They roll their eyes. They act like you're the most embarrassing person on the planet. They don't want to be around you. They don't mean it. That's them trying to identify who they are. They're trying to figure out what the world looks like away from you and how to function in that world. Now we have to respect some of their privacy, but we are not controlling and we do not withdraw. We stay present. What about your 13 through 17-year-olds? They deeply want their independence, and they have to keep that independence in order to grow their maturity. Their moods might be wonky. They might be really super sweet one moment and then totally unkind the next moment. When they're sassy and they're mean and they're unkind, they don't mean it. They really don't. They're going through so much developmentally. They're trying to be this big adult person in a little tiny body. Be their safe place because they need one. They don't have safe places. What about your 18 to 20-year-olds? These are still kids. I know it doesn't feel like they're kids, but they're still kids and they still need their parents. I have a 20-year-old and she needs me desperately. I'll tell you that. They're questioning everything, though. They're trying to figure out what the world means, how to be an adult, how to take on all the responsibility of the adult, but they don't really want it. It's the push and pull of that. Can you make me dinner? Can you do my laundry for me? They want those things done for them. And at the same time, when they leave and are away from the house, they have to do those things themselves. And it's not easy for them to learn all these new skills. You now become their confidant. You become their consigliere. You become their support and more their friend. And then you start really developing that foundation of trust where you're not telling them what to do, you're not giving them your opinion, but you're being their support person when they need it. When we understand what's normal, then we can stop thinking something's wrong with our kids. Believe me, there's nothing wrong with your child. If you go home tonight, please Google what is normal behavior for a 8-year-old. And I'd like you to read all of those normal behaviors. And I believe me, I think you'll see a lot of behaviors that you might think aren't normal, or you think they're acting out, or you think they're misbehavior. We're going to get to the peace and parenting framework. So now you know the 5 reasons. The question is, when your child's melting down, what do you actually do? What's the step-by-step? There's a little framework that I like called PEACE, P-E-A-C-E. Number 1 is P is pause. We talked about at the very beginning. Pause and take a breath. It's like co-regulating. Remind yourself this is not an emergency. My child's not the enemy. They're not after me. E, empathize. Name what your child's feeling. Oh, you're really upset. Oh, you seem super frustrated. Oh, I wish we could stay longer. You don't have to agree that the behavior is right. You just have to empathize with the feelings. You have to validate the way they're feeling about the situation. A is acknowledgement, and that's different than empathizing. It's acknowledging, meaning you're letting them know that their experience makes sense. Sure, you should be upset. I understand. I would be upset too if I had to turn my electronics off and I was in the middle of this amazing game. It doesn't mean we're fixing it. It means we see them as people with real life quandaries. C, connect. Get on their level, kneel down, get on the floor, and be present, be soft. be open. Connection is the bridge between the big emotion and the cooperation you're looking for. And E is enforce with empathy. Here's where the boundary comes in. And this is critical because connected parenting is not permissive parenting. It's not even gentle parenting. We absolutely hold limits. We just hold them without shame, without punishments, without lecture. We hold them without losing the relationship we share with our children. We hold them without damaging that connection that you're working so hard to build. We have to turn off the TV. I know that show is great, but we're done for the night. We listen to the feelings, but we also hold the limit. We hold our child, but we also hold the boundary. And this is the framework right here. If we practice week after week, we get better at these ideas. And that's exactly what we do in the Peace and Parenting community and our one-on-one coaching. Because knowing it and living it and understanding it deeply and struggling with it on the daily are very different things. And we need support and practice in order to make those things automatic. I want to share a story with you because I know some of you are thinking, yeah, this sounds really great, Michelle. Sure, cool. How do I do it? So let me tell you about a client of ours, Cher. She came through the Peace and Parenting community and she was a yeller like me. She'll tell you that herself. She was in that cycle. She would yell and then feel guilty and then promise to do it better again and then yell again. Sound familiar? That's what I did. I don't know if you did too. So she started using connected parenting and daily special time. And within 2 weeks, she stopped yelling. Her 6-year-old's tantrums went from every single day to once a week. And here's what she said. We have had some big wins over here with this method. We have a long way to go, but it's exciting to see progress in myself and my kids using your strategies, Michelle. I love what she says here, progress in myself and in my kids. And that's the thing. When you work on making changes in your parenting, you see it manifest with your children. It changes the way you look at your kids. It changes the way you look at yourself and the way your whole family feels. Now, I also want to share a cautionary tale. I worked with a mom who tried everything she found. Sticker charts, I used sticker charts. Timeouts, I used timeouts. Taking toys away, I took toys away. Taking screen time away, I did that too. I took dessert, I took everything I could, and so did she. And her 5-year-old's behavior didn't get any better. It got worse. The aggression escalated, the meltdowns got bigger because every punishment was confirming that the child already believed, I'm bad and nobody understands me. When she switched to limits with empathy and connection through our Peace and Parenting community, the aggression stopped within 3 weeks. 3 weeks, not because we found a magic trick, but because the child ended up feeling safe. So they didn't have to use the misbehavior to get the negative attention that they were looking for. I want to give you 2 more data points to take with you because I know some of you are the type who want to see the evidence. And I love that because I want to see the evidence too. 80% of parents who switch from punitive, so punishment-based, threats and bribes, to connective approaches report fewer daily conflicts within 30 days. That's from the Positive Discipline Association. 30 days. That's not a year-long program. That's 1 month of shifting how you respond. And here's one that really puts things in perspective. 65% of children's behavior problems stem from environmental factors. Tiredness, hunger, routine disruption, not defiance, not misbehavior. 65%. So most of the time, it's not your kid, it's the circumstance. And if you want to go deeper, I have some resources for you. First, my book, Unpunished. It's everything I've taught tonight or today, plus the full roadmap of letting go of punishments and building connection-based home. It's also my story. It's my memoir of the struggles that I went through. Second is the Peace and Parenting podcast. And I don't know if you've checked it out, but it's on all the platforms and there's 500 episodes. I discuss real stories. I use real tools. I have conversations with parents just like you and experts. It's available anywhere. And third, and this is the big one, is the Peace and Parenting community weekly live support calls with myself and my coaches. This is where parents come to practice, we get feedback, and to feel supported. Because reading a book is great, but doing the work in a community with other people, that's where the transformation happens.
Thank you for joining me on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'll see you next time. A quick thank you to our sponsors for making this podcast possible. They keep this show free to listen to. Hey there, Peace and Parenting family. If you love the podcast but wish to enjoy it without interruptions, your wish has come true. Introducing the ad-free version of the Peace in Parenting podcast, available exclusively on Apple Podcast. As a subscriber, you'll get all the heartfelt advice, parenting stories, and actionable tips you love without any ads. For less than the cost of a coffee each month, you will enjoy uninterrupted listening while also supporting our work to help you build stronger connections with your kids. Try it out for free. Simply find Peace in Parenting on Apple Podcasts, click Try Free, and you'll gain immediate access to our ad-free episodes. There's no commitment and you can cancel anytime. So if you're ready for a more peaceful, uninterrupted listening experience, subscribe now. Let's keep focusing on connection without the distractions.